Okay, we waiting. Rise and shine, beloved, great grand rising. Come on in, come on in. I'm just here. Let me get this up on Facebook and we are ready to go. So, with that being said, let's do what we do here in the spiritual success community. Let me just turn the volume down on this. Yeah, I did. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on in, come on in. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. Take a minute, go tag your friends, your family members, let them know Spiritual Success TV is live. With that being said, let's do what we do in our community. Let's activate the success mind. We're going to sit with our feet flat, back straight, hand on heart, hand on core. Take a good healing deep breath in and exhale. And relax. From the crown of the head to the sole of the feet, relax. Next, healing deep breath in. Exhale. Turn the focus inward to the rich inner life of the kingdom of God that is within, where is all your power, your authority, your access, your insight, your intuition, your guidance is all within. One more deep breath in for the power of 3. Healing deep breath in and exhale. Today, we're so thankful and grateful for another day, for another opportunity to be in this awesome and amazing gathering. Grand Rising Amanda Lee, thanks for joining us live. We're so thankful and grateful. And today, I just stretch my hand towards you and I say, be blessed. Be delivered, be set free, be healed, be in joy, be in peace, be in love. All things are working together. All things are working together and fitting into a plan for good, for your good. And right now, I just want you to open your hands in receiving mode and say, I'm now open to receiving all the good I desire and deserve. Come on, beloved. I am open to receive. I allow myself to receive all the good I desire and deserve. Grand Rising, Brian, thanks for joining us live. I want to go, we're in a brand new month, and we started talking last month about how June is the crossover month. It's a month of major shifting and transformation. So I just wanted to recap as I'm doing this in my community. And SSLers, we will not meet tomorrow. This is my birthday week. Yay! My birthday is Wednesday, but I have guests coming in out of town. I have to be at the airport tomorrow. There's just a lot of stuff to do. That's just a little bit too much for me at the top of the hour to meet in class. But what I am going to do is upload a special audio and an assignment for you guys. I'll have that uploaded by this evening, but we will not meet tomorrow at 12 noon. So what I want to talk to you about, I got something really serious that I want to talk about while we're in this crossover month, this month of shifting, and we are accessing the power of this universal year 8. This is a number 8 year, and you all go back, watch the replays. I talked extensively about that. But it's hard to believe that we entered 2024 6 months ago. It seems like it was just yesterday. It seems like I was just getting through Christmas, getting my grands together, and already I had to do birthdays and all of that. So we're so thankful that we are here and that we are here. And we're going Great Grand Rising. Thanks for joining you live. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So, and then I have some wonderful things coming up for my new lifers and all of you that journeyed with me over the years in ministry. We have something very special coming up. So just be watching and listening in. Grand Rising, Reese, thanks for joining us live. All right. So we started this year out with a powerful prophetic release. You could go back and watch that, right? And this is a year of transformation, transition. I'm looking at my notes, exposure, elevation, bringing closure to old patterns. Beloved, this is the time to do that, to bring closure to old patterns. So in the past 6 weeks, we've been meditating on the prophetic word and declaring that we're in a new growth stage. And I want you to write that down. New growth stage. I was sharing with someone yesterday, and I was saying we all hit points in our lives when we are in a state of quote unquote isolation because we are deprogramming, we are detoxing, right? We are decommissioning and demystifying some things that have been a mystery. And all of us go through a period like that. We don't stay there forever, but it's necessary to go through that so that you can get to what is necessary. So in the spiritual success community and here live on Sunday mornings, we've talked extensively about mental efficacy. We talked about shifting realities. We talked about navigating the gap, right? Understanding resistance, the law of polarity, just to name a few. So today I want to take a pause and I want to talk about something that's very important because I'm seeing that a lot of people are still stagnant, not quite moving forward. You're full of dream, full of vision, full of ideas of what you think or what you believe that you're here to do. But for some reason, you're still not moving enough in that. You're still not making enough progress. So what I want to talk about today, and this conversation came up this week, and I want to talk to you today about the 5 laws of identity. I want to talk about identity because it's so important. You would hear me say this, right? That how the ancients in Kemet would hang the sign over the temple door that would say, know thyself. And what do y'all hear me say all the time? The more you know yourself, the more you're going to know God. The more you know God, the more you're going to know yourself. I want to talk about identity because, beloved, and I'm looking directly at the note I sent out, if you don't truly, honestly, and sincerely know yourself, it is because you are still in a state of unhealed trauma. Somebody write that down, unhealed trauma. Now, this is the dangerous thing about that. And it seems like, from the 90s on, we've been on this journey of, inner healing, healing the child within, and all these wonderful things that came up here lately in the 2000s, the mid 2000s. We started talking about the shadow self and understanding the shadow self more. But when you have unhealed trauma, most likely, I want you to hear this because I'm going deep today. Most likely, your religious or spiritual practices may have supported you in hiding from yourself. I want somebody to talk back to me and say, I used to hide, but I'm no longer hiding. Come on. All of your religious or spiritual practices can support you in hiding from your true self. Now, in organized religion and where we've come through, that whole system and structure, especially in the Pentecostal Apostolic Church, right? In our cultural community, that whole structure, and it's not just us, it's just across the board in organized institutional religion, we were encouraged and we were trained how to disown, negate, or demonize our identity. We were taught and we heard so much about the flesh and killing the flesh and getting rid of the flesh and and all of that. And what we did while we were in that kind of a way of thinking, we demonized our humanity. Somebody talk back to me. Yes. Thank you, Brian. I used to hide, but no longer hiding. And I want to hear from y'all today. Listen, Grand Rising, Lisa, thanks for joining us live. And so we demonized our humanity. And we did not know how to balance humanity with spirituality. So what did they tell us to do? The flesh is wicked, the flesh is weak. We know what scripture says, but I'm talking about a over alignment and agreement with something's wrong with you and you're no good. You know, the whole sinner saved by grace complex, because there are a lot of things that's in sacred text, and you hear me say this all the time, but when we're stuck interpreting sacred text based on religious doctrine and dogma, you're going to start limiting yourself, negating yourself, sabotaging yourself, and just really being down on who you are. But can we be free today? Because if you don't know yourself, and you have not yet truly embraced yourself. And I'm not talking about on an ego level where you just say, this is who I am, this is what I am. If you don't like it, too bad. All of that is still a facade that comes out of the ego mind. And that's not where we want to be either. So when you have unhealed traumas and we have pushed stuff down and stuffed things down, and we hid behind being busy and going to church and being, busy in the church and working in the church, I want you to hear me, because I don't want you to have what we call church brain, where all you could hear is your mind rebuffing what I'm saying based on religious doctrine, but as it pertains to dogma, right? We call that church brain, where you can't think anything. You can't have a conversation about anything outside of your religious jargon, your religious language, right? The scripture, sacred text. If you cannot have a conversation, an intelligent conversation, without always having to refer to your religious lingo, something is wrong. So back to the notes. Listen, your religious or spiritual practices, Grand Rising Tyreek, could support you in hiding from yourself, right? So while we're in this new growth stage, I want you to prepare your heart and your mind to create a new wineskin. Somebody talk back to me and say, it's time to create a new wineskin. How can new wine be poured in an old wineskin? That new wineskin is creating a new container, a new structure. Somebody talk back to me and say, out with the old. Come on, the old is no longer serving me. And that is where the church is today. We are desperately trying to make an old era and an old way fit where we are today. But can somebody talk back to me and say, I'm future ready? I'm ready for the future. I'm looking for what's being unfolded, what God is doing now. And we could always look back. I want you to hear me. We could always look back. But what we want to do is stop having to look back and bring the things that were beneficial with us into the future. I'm talking about things that, watch this. This is how you know when things are beneficial, because they will encourage you to stretch. They will encourage you to grow. This is when things are beneficial. You will be challenged to go beyond your comfort zone. These are the things that are beneficial. So I think about myself when I released full-time pastoral ministry in the physical brick and mortar building. I was given instruction, and you all heard me say this many times. And the word that was so strong that still carries me today, that are part of my intentional anchors: stay with truth, stay with love, stay with the Holy Spirit. And that's truth with a capital T, truth that cannot be changed or altered and has nothing to do with religion. That still carries me today. That's my anchor. Why did I get that word? Because the old structure was being torn down, and it was time to create a new wineskin, a new container, to be able to go further, to be able to do more. And this is what is here for us now. We're in a new growth stage. And it's time for you to allow a new wineskin to be created so that new wine, new life, new insight, new technology, new beliefs can be poured in and can be downloaded. So when you don't know yourself, these are some of the dangers as we engaged in this conversation this week. Some of the dangers of not knowing who you are is spiritual confusion. Spiritual confusion because you're not yet giving yourself permission to explore your spiritual DNA. Somebody talk back to me. Come on. What is my spiritual DNA? We all have it. Talk back to me. That's when you begin to really awaken to who you are. So again, back to identity and being able to embrace your identity has nothing to do with this is who I am. If you don't like it, it's too bad. You know, I'm going to be myself. All of that arrogant stuff, all of that to me is still a mask. It's still masking you getting to the core of who you are. Because when you really know yourself, and you start embracing and accepting who you are, there is a grace and there is an authority and there is a stance and a posture that you take that doesn't need words. Somebody talk back to me. It doesn't need words, meaning you don't always have to defend yourself. And that's what all of that, this is just me, you don't like it. All of that is still a defense mechanism that comes out of the 3D ego mind that says, you know, I've got to defend and I've got to be overly aggressive and I've got to force who I am on you. I want you to hear this again. When you start waking up, and you start honoring and recognizing your God self, and you understand your spiritual DNA, I want to talk about that a little bit more. Because each of you all that have had a quote unquote born again or saved experience, that was you coming through the door from the physical realm into the non-physical realm. That was your introduction into spirituality. And you've heard me say this many times. What happens is that we come through the door, just like coming through the doors of the church, right? And we came through the door of the kingdom when we had that experience and something happened in your mind, in your heart, in your body. Can somebody talk back to me? Can some of y'all remember when you had that experience in the Apostolic Pentecostal Church holiness? We call it being saved, right? I just want you looking at that experience. Somebody talk back to me. Tell me the day that you remembered when you had that collision from the realm of the spirit, when something in you began to rise up and bubble up, right? I remember I was like 14 years old. No, maybe 16. This is when I started, because I started going to Messiah Baptist Church when I was 14. And then when I was 16, 15, 16 is when I received the baptism of the Holy Spirit. That huge colliding of spiritual energy that came up in me, it was something I would never forget. And I was in a Baptist church and they didn't even teach or preach about the Holy Spirit. This story is too long to tell, but I want to know if you can still remember the day and the time. And we would say it like this: when the Lord blessed my soul, right? Right. And so you remember the old song. I'm just remembering the verse that says, you should have been there when he saved my soul. I'm going to get the first part of it. You should have been there when he put my name on the roll. When I started walking, y'all remember that? I started talking, I started singing, oh, what the Lord has done for me. Oh, I can't get the first part of that song, but you should have been there, right? Because we all have a place that we can remember when our soul got blessed. Y'all don't want to talk to me today. All right. When that happened, you came through the door from the natural to the supernatural realm. You came through and you're at the threshold of the kingdom. But what religion did is it stopped us right at the door. Remember, it was Jesus the Christ, I believe, when he was rebuking the scribes and the Pharisees. He said, you know what, you hypocrite. You won't go in and you won't allow anybody else to go in either. We get saved at the door. We get baptized at the door. We get married. We develop careers at the door, but never advance to go into the kingdom. So when we look at the spiritual law of identity and knowing yourself and understanding your spiritual DNA is so important. And somebody's saying, Dr. E, how do I understand my spiritual DNA? You got to start looking at what resonates with you on a spiritual level. And this is where you have to decommission and break the box of religion and religion's doctrine and dogma, because it has you fearful. It'll tell you everything is evil, everything's the devil, everything's a demon. You know, you're going to get hijacked, you're going to get overtaken. And many things that's a part of your spiritual DNA you never touch. So you're never coming into the true identity of who you are. You have to start paying attention to what you have an affinity for. And can I say it like this? You could be in a Christian church and identify as a Christian, but have a strong affinity to Islam or to Muslims, and you don't know why. You can have a strong identity and resonance with Hebrews. And I'm talking about Hebrews in terms of real Hebrews, right? Not all the other stuff, and that's all I'm gonna say about that, right? You can have a strong affinity to African culture, African spirituality. Something just draws you and put you. It's because things are encoded in your DNA that's knocking on your door, wanting to get your attention, right? But we were told everything was evil. They demonized everything. So that's why you still don't know who you are. And it's dangerous. It is dangerous to be in positions of leadership and you don't know who you are. So let's look at this. When we talk about identity, we're talking about a sense of self, and I'm saying self with a capital S. Providing the sameness and continuity in the way you personify or your personality over time, right? Your identity begin to evolve. So in my community, the first place we land is where awareness. That's your key to freedom. And the principles that we start embracing, you and God are one. Because where we come from in our religious upbringing, we cannot identify ourselves with God or even as God, because we were told that was blasphemy. Beloved, somebody talk back to me. All of that is keeping you out of owning your true power, owning who you are, coming into your divine identity. So when I look at myself, and because I am here to be a master teacher, because I am here to teach insightfully and prophetically, I had to get to a place where I left the principles of doctrine and started going on to perfection, realizing that doctrine was holding me in a box and was limiting me. And how did I get to that? I'm on my path, right? I shared this with somebody the other day. I'm on my path, evolving. Can somebody talk to me and say, Dr. E, I'm ready to evolve. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to come into the fullness of who I am. Any one of those, talk back to me. I'm ready to evolve, right? We're in a new growth stage. I'm ready to come into the fullness of who I am. So I'm on my path, right? And for those of y'all that remember, shout out to me. And so in 1999, 2000, 2001, right in there, I went through a major shifting. I've had several. We call them awakenings. And that is the first time when I was instructed to change the name of the ministry, right? And so we changed the name at that time to New Life prophetic deliverance ministry. And at that time, I had never heard of prophetic deliverance. And I automatically wanted to say prophetic and deliverance. And the Spirit said, no, I said prophetic deliverance, right? And watch this. What was that? I created a new container, a new wineskin for new wine to be poured in. And I journeyed with that from about 2001, 2001. Then when I got to 2010, God, I thank you. I hit another pocket of growth and development. Spirit came back and said, now watch this. This is why you got to be free, beloved. You have to be free to know who you are and don't worry about being judged and don't worry about what people are going to think about what you're doing. Keep growing. I hit another pocket and I heard Spirit said, this container is too small. The container of prophetic deliverance. Why? Because I was growing and evolving, coming more into allowing my true identity to manifest, to unfold. And how was I doing that? I am embracing the heart. I'm listening deeply to my heart, to what my heart wants, what my heart is saying, right? Yes, perspective deliverance is still a gift to the, it is, Minister Brian, it is, right? But the Spirit said now that container is too small. Watch this. I want you to get this. So in 2000, I move into and create the container for prophetic deliverance, right? The container. But then in 2010, Spirit comes back and says, now that container is too small. Did we throw prophetic deliverance away? No, I still flowed in it, but that was not the primary focus. And we shifted again, and I changed the name of the ministry again. Y'all need to do your studying. Israel did the same thing. When they hit major places, they had to name it. There's something powerful in the name. And we changed the name again. Now, in the 3D realm of the world, they would think that's instability. Y'all better, somebody talk back to me today. Y'all help me out right here. Amanda Lee, yes, that fullness, yes, the fullness. And so when I came into 2010 and we changed the name of the ministry again, we changed it from New Life Prophetic Deliverance to New Life Empowerment Center. Why did we do that? So I'm in the going through the prophetic deliverance. I started the School of Deliverance Level 1. How many of y'all remember the School of Deliverance Level 1? Talk back to me. And as a master teacher, I'm still growing. And then when I hit, this is all part of what I'm saying, and I didn't even get to the 5 laws of identity today, but we'll get there, right? So when I hit the School of Deliverance Level 1, and that's a blessing, when it was time to go to Level 2, it was called Strategic. First it was called Strategic Weapons and Tactics. So now I'm going deeper into this whole thing about deliverance ministry, and Spirit is saying you got to go beyond, just identifying on a low level of how spirits manifest, like rejection, yes, School of Deliverance, School of Prophets, right? And I expanded on all of that, Brian, right? Even the School of the Prophets ended up having like 3 levels to it. So when I got to level 2 of the School of Deliverance, now it's about strategic weapons and tactics. And that was called SWAT. Y'all remember the t-shirt? Strategic Weapons and Tactics. When I went to start studying and doing research according to what my spirit and my heart was saying, go here, get into the cosmos, understand what's happening in the heavens, what's happening in what we call the second heaven, the third heaven, which now would be, we call it the lower 4th dimensional realm, 5D realm. When I went to start studying, I could not find anything on a deeper level of insight into deliverance ministry or spiritual tactics and weapons and how to operate in the Christian community. So if y'all went through level 2 of School of Deliverance, remember I did the cosmos, right? And we started looking at the 9 orders in the angelic realm, and we started looking at the orders in the demonic realm, and all of that. And we started looking at weapons and tactics. I could not find anything by Christian authors that would take me deeper. I had to go into the occult, and occult just meaning hidden. I had to go into what they call New Age practices, and there was a ton of references there. I had the grace, because what am I now? I'm the master teacher. I had the grace. Wherein, watch this, wherein 5 or 10 years prior, I would have never went into that section, and I certainly wouldn't have bought any of those books home. Why? Because we say that demons are coming. Something's going to get you. But thank God, because somebody say thank God for growth. Thank God for moving. And so I had to look at different materials. The Christian community had nothing. And I hate to say it like this, the stuff that we were in the Christian community was on such an elementary baby level, such a neophyte level, you know, and I can see why we wasn't getting much done, and we wasn't manifesting, and we wasn't progressing. And then by the time I got to the School of Deliverance level 3, which was the psychology of deliverance, that's when I lost people, because they couldn't get out of their church brain enough to understand how God created us on all levels. And Marcus, you can appreciate this. We were just talking about this, how the spirit, the body, the mind, the soul, everything in your electromagnetical, biochemical body is strategically designed by God, and it all works together. So when I started getting into the psychology of deliverance and talking more about understanding the conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind, all of that, I lost some people, because all they knew was there's a demon, lay hands, cast out the demon, and I'll be fine. But when God got a hold of me and told me, now, prophetic deliverance container is not big enough to hold what I'm pouring in now. He said it's all about now empowerment and destiny fulfillment. So that's when my philosophy of deliverance ministry shifted or expanded from just seeing a demon, identifying a demon, and casting out a demon. Because people would break free but couldn't stay free. They would get delivered, couldn't stay delivered. So we had to understand now the psychology. How does the soulless realm play a part in where you are? Why you're not growing? Why you keep reverting back? Why you're stuck in addiction? We had to start looking at all of that. I said all of that to say this, beloved. All of that is a part of my spiritual DNA. How did I tap into it? Because I'm going into the realm of the spirit, turning inward, being still, listening to where my heart was guiding me, paying attention to what books I kept reading. Why was I always picking up a book on personal development, self-help, the subconscious mind, the hero's journey, on and on and on and on. I would dare to say, beloved, in the 40 plus years that I was in ministry, and I would say in the last maybe 7, 8, 9 years, I slowed down on the amount of resources I invested in, because I started getting real fine tuning what I was eating and letting come in. But I would dare to say I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on resources. And so when I came to that conclusion and looked at that, I looked at what I owned. This is all giving you clues, beloved. I looked at what I owned, and I didn't own a lot of material things. Now, I like gadgets and I like nice things and all of that. But the bulk of what I own, if somebody was to come and say, we're going to evaluate your estate to see where your wealth is, they would have found nothing but books and tapes and CDs and courses and workshops and lectures, and that's what I own. And then, and watch this, I'm wrapping up with this. So I went to New Life Empowerment Center around 2010. That's when something in me started waking up. And I knew in 2011, I was supposed to shift out of pastoral ministry in the physical sense, but I wasn't ready. But that is when I started my coaching practice in 2010. That's when I went through all of that training. Watch this. I'm shifting, I'm growing, I'm evolving. I should have made the move in 2011, but I wasn't ready. Why? Because I still had church brain. I still wasn't clear. And then we get to 2015, and everything in me started shutting down. The ministry started shifting. The ministry was going down. Now, when you're a leader, you know how to pick things up. You know how to get things moving. That's what I did in 2011, 2012. Real strong. Because I wasn't ready, I picked everything up, brought everything back up. Boy, we moving, we flowing, we growing. I mean, I had some of the finest prophets and apostles coming through there. It was a good time. It was a good time. That was 2012, 2013, 2014. When I hit 2015, something shifted in me again. Spirit is coming back again. New Life Empowerment Center. Now, this container is too small. You have global ministry, and you have to minister beyond the borders of just, quote unquote, the Christian community. You have to minister to a spiritual community, right? So by the time we got to 2015, everything started going down, and everything in my spirit said, do not pick this up. Let it do what it's doing. Let it do what it's doing. And we went through all of 2015, and I just let it do what it was doing. I said all of that to say, beloved, that's when you know who you are, and you know what you're here to do, and you're following the divine hand of providence in your life. So when we look at the 5 laws of identity, according to me, we have what we call unconscious identity. That's where many people still are today. You have no clue who you are. You have adapted a persona. You have maybe copied someone else's personality, someone else's lifestyle, and you're still unconscious about who you are. When we say who you are, we're talking about, who did God create you to be? Why are you here? Why are you still here? Why is it that you couldn't connect with this group, or you left that group? Why is it that you're on your own right now and you're not connected to any group right now? Because the essence of who you are wants to unfold. You have to start looking into your spiritual DNA. What's attracting your attention? What are you studying? What are you eating? What do you can't get enough of, right? And you have to go deeper. You have to go deeper into what the powers that be hid from us. And we label everything that's occult as evil and wicked. Occult just means hidden. It's hidden from society. It's esoteric. It's not exo, it's esoteric, right? Meaning it's hidden. We don't want everybody to understand this knowledge and this wisdom, because if they do, they're going to come into their own power. They're going to come into a sense of self, and church and different religious practices was the vehicle that kept many of us dumbed down. Many of us not understanding who we are. So we have unconscious identity. Then we have unknown identity. Unknown identity might be you're waking up and you're conscious, but you still don't know. When you're in unconscious identity, you have no clue. You just walking through life, you're sleeping. You're the walking dead. You're just sleeping. You're in a zombie state. You're being controlled and manipulated by laws and associations and cultures. You're not thinking. That's unconscious. Now, when you're in unknown identity, you're waking up. You know you have something, but it's just unknown. It's unknown to you. And then we have mistaken identity. Mistaken identity is when you have adapted, as I did for many years, you adapted to a culture, you adapted to a lifestyle. When I got in the church, I immersed myself in the culture. I adapt in that culture. And then the deeper I went in, and then when I married the late Bishop C.W., and I was deep in that culture, I completely abandoned who I was, because the teaching was the man is the head, the man has the vision, and you are helpmate. Okay, that's valid on a certain level. But God never intended for us to abandon who we are and what we're here to do, to take on another persona, right? And that's a whole another conversation, right? That's mistaken identity. Now you're operating and moving. I was moving, I was growing, I was flourishing in this mistaken identity, right? I wasn't free to be who I was because they said woman couldn't preach. I wasn't free to be who I was because a woman couldn't be a prophet or an apostle. All of that. Do you see how all of that interferes with who you are? But I kept going. Number 4 is hidden identity. Now you know who you are. You have a sense of who you are. You understand your spiritual DNA. You know what you have an affinity toward, but you're hidden. You're hiding. Can y'all talk back to me and tell me if you're in hidden identity? You're still hiding. You're still not embracing. Yes, Amanda, we're not supposed to abandon self. Thank God for growth. Yes, out with the old, in with the new, right? So all of this, you grow, you evolve, you move, particularly for those of you, you've been doing the same thing at the same level all of your life. God says we're in a new growth stage. It's time to grow. I want to dig deeper into that, right? And then number 5 in the law of identity is revealed identity. This is when not only do you know who you are and you are confident in who you are, the world knows. Others begin to see, they begin to affirm, they begin to validate. Not that you're seeking that, they just begin to do that. So when the dangers of not knowing who you are, right, and not understanding, I wanted to share that, and I'm closing with this, I promise you, right, is that when you don't know who you are, number 1, you don't know your identity, is that everything you do is based on external guidance and validation. Can you write that down in your notes? You're still outside yourself. You're still looking outside yourself. It's about external guidance, external validation. You're not tapped into your heart. You're giving away all your power. You're looking at the next bright, shiny object. You're looking at the get-rich scheme. You're looking at what everybody else is doing, and they seem to be doing well. Beloved, that's not it. The last thing, the danger of not knowing your identity, is that you develop unhealthy attachments. You develop unhealthy attachments. You stay too long. You strip yourself too far. You have all these unhealthy attachments. And I'm going to stop there. I'm just going to stop there. We're kind of way over time today. Y'all talk back to me. But beloved, listen, let's bring this all together. The month of June, and even going into July, we're in the crossover phase because we're in new growth stage. We're in a new growth stage. We have to begin to create a new wineskin so that new wine can be poured in, out with the old. Let go of the unhealthy attachment that you have to religious doctrine and dogma that doesn't serve you. It's not helping you grow. It's not helping you identify who you are in your God self. It's too much, y'all. It's too much. I'm just going to stop there. I'm just going to stop there. Listen, beloved, if you heard anything that blessed you, anything that you say, you know what, that was good, I'm going to meditate on that. I want you to come on and sow a seed into the word today. That's our way of worshiping. Now, coming out of 2023, I shared with you, I didn't do this, but I'm being instructed to do this now and I'm going to do an extensive teaching on why I'm being instructed to do this. And it has nothing to do with church. It has nothing to do with offering. I want us to take a breath and tap into the law of sowing and reaping and what it means to sow into a prophetic word, what it means to do that. I am not here asking you for astronomical sums of money. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm not trying to do any of that. I want you to be able to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to take this word. Now I'm going to sow a seed into this word because I'm going to water this seed. I'm going to name this seed, and we activate the prophetic because as a prophet and speaking prophetically, coming into a new growth stage now is activated for you. But you do your part, and let's worship around this prophetic word that I'm in a new growth stage. So what are you going to do? You're going to take a seed. You're going to sow into the word. You're going to name the word, name the word, name the seed. You're going to water it. You're going to nurture it and allow the word to start working in your life. We got to come out of that. Oh, that was a good word. Oh, that sounds good. When everything is set up to get you out of where you've been in most of your life. When I tell you everything is being made new, behold, all things are new, forgetting those things that are behind. Let's press forward because all things are being made new. We're in a new growth stage, and I'm happy about it. So as usual, you all can take a screenshot of this. This is all the ways that you can give. Be a blessing. There's the PayPal. There's the website, the PayPal, the Cash App, the Zelle. And it's just going to help me do what I do. I refuse to come here and beg. That's not my mindset. That's not my spirit. I'm not doing any of that, right? Get in where you fit in. So I'm $8.88 today, $8.88, $88.88, and $188. Well, get in where you fit at. Everybody's at different faith levels, different financial levels. Get in where you fit in. Sow into the word. We're in a new growth stage. All right, lovelies, I am going to release you with many blessings for the rest of your day and your week. And SSLers, we will not have class tomorrow at 12 noon, but watch the success line. I'm going to upload a special message with an assignment for you guys, and then we'll be connecting like that. All right. I love you guys so much. Let me see what you all were saying. I was talking so much. I was not even looking at the comments, but you guys have a blessed, wonderful, and amazing day. And wish me a happy birthday. Wednesday is my birthday. All right, lovelies. Have a blessed, wonderful, and amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye. Let's end the live stream.